Here's your sync clap. 3, 2, 1. We have sync.
Houston, we have sync.
Hey, I'm Blake.
And I'm Dave.
And this is the Disaster Films episode of First Prize Films, an apocalyptic podcast where we each select a genre-specific movie and pit them against each other to find out which film wins the coveted title of First Prize. Dave, what does that mean for us?
Yeah, so it's like screaming at the TV during sports ball.
Yeah?
Doesn't do anything.
Sure doesn't.
Today we are saving the world with nukes in these disaster films.
Yay!
That seems backwards.
Sure.
I made Blake watch Deep Impact, a movie about a killer asteroid headed for Earth, but without Aerosmith.
I have so much to say about that. And Dave, I made you watch also 1998's Armageddon, a movie where Michael Bay insists that it's easier to be an astronaut than it is to use an oil drill.
Fucking idiot.
Both these movies make me mad.
Nobody understands space.
So getting into this, these movies came out at the same time,
Yes.
within like a couple of months, and
months,
they're
yeah.
the same premise. There's a major asteroid coming for Earth to kill it, and I gotta know why you picked Deep Impact.
Well, okay, I guess because I grew up remembering Armageddon and remembering, Aerosmith and crying and
Yes.
and Bruce Willis, and I'm like,
Dude.
you know what? Fuck that. I want to do something else. I remember Deep Impact. I don't remember seeing it necessarily, especially in theaters or anything like that, but
Yeah.
I remember it, and I thought, you know what? Let me do that one. I haven't seen that one. I would like to do that one. So it's, like you said, it's exactly the same movie, basically, just with slight differences. So
Yeah, I feel that. But the late 90s in general, there was a big boom of like disaster movies, you know?
Yes.
And these two fall squarely into that. Deep Impact was actually the first movie I can remember that made me cry when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
No
and
kidding.
It's that like heartwarming like goodbye scene at the end. I remember
yeah.
bawling my fucking eyes out as a child and was like, what's happening? Why would you do this to me, Mom?
So you cried at my movie, and I cried at your movie. So that's
Yeah, it's true. But
great.
Armageddon, I really wanted to talk about because I remember this movie being bonkers, even when I was a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
We must have rented it from Blockbuster or something. But I also remember, just like you said, that Aerosmith song from the movie was constantly on the radio. You could not fucking escape this thing.
No, you couldn't. And it was so pervasive at the time that even now, that song comes on, you're like, Armageddon.
You literally, all you think of is Armageddon. It's true. They're like, they're tied forever. And Aerosmith is actually the first real concert I ever went to.
Really?
Yeah. I think the band saw a major resurgence after this movie.
Yeah, I think they did for sure. And actually, I'm thinking about something.
What's that?
And you said in the 90s that there was a lot of disaster films.
Yeah.
Do you think they're preparing us for our adult lives?
Just the metaphorical disaster that has become a millennial's adulthood? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe they knew. Maybe the boomers are like, we can't just leave them without a tether. Here's some shitty movies.
I feel like that's exactly what happened. Yes.
We appreciate you, you fucks. You're going to a home as soon as possible.
I mean, well,
Just saying, you'll get your tapioca pudding once every couple of days, and that's it. You cut off.
yes, tapioca and cottage cheese.
I will never forgive you people.
Yeah, fucking me either. Okay, because
Yeah. For now, we got Deep Impact, so let's just get impacted deeply.
I
don't like that.
I don't
Cut
know.
that.
Movie 1, Deep Impact, 1998.
All right, Dave, give us the synopsis for 1998's Deep Impact.
Space. It's a beautiful but dangerous and scary place, especially when it chucks a giant rock at the Earth to destroy it. Now it's up to America, for some reason, to defeat the space rock by nuking it, because that's America's answer to everything. Will it work? Who cares? Because bombs!
Woo! Go America!
So we open to the night sky as some amateur or student stargazers are staring up into the sky when their teacher or creepy older guy in the group, we can't be sure which one, starts grilling them on what they're seeing. Stars, you dick.
Yeah, we got pre-Shire Frodo up in here, just searching out the sky, looking for wonderment.
Yeah, you're talking about Elijah Wood, who is looking up at the stars when he should be looking down at his hobbit feet.
More on Hobbit feet later, trust me.
Well, it's not McGrath. It's something else.
Let's take another picture. We'll send it to Dr. Wolf.
Now we meet Dr. Wolf, who looks like he was ripped straight from Nerdy Guys R Us, and he's in a giant telescope room. He types in the coordinates of the something else that the kids found, and he starts talking to the picture like a maniac when...
Damn it.
He sees that the path of this thing is intersecting with Earth's orbit.
Oh my god.
I know. Even worse, he takes off in a Jeep and is suddenly in a don't use your phone and drive commercial because he's being run off the road by a semi-truck.
This movie turns into fucking Duel really quickly. The asteroid isn't gonna like hit the Earth in 20 minutes, but he's like driving all crazy, and there's a big rig coming up the mountain. I don't know where the fuck they are, but they're coming down the mountain when she comes, and he hits the end of the thing. He goes soaring off into the ravine, and he's dead. I guess we'll never know about that asteroid.
Yeah, you're right, because when he goes off into the ravine, his Jeep fucking explodes because apparently it's made of gasoline.
If I've learned anything this season about cars in general, it's that you should avoid Jeeps. They'll fucking kill you.
Rittenhouse, tape and text on my desk by 4 o'clock tomorrow, and then we'll drop...
But forget the exploding Jeep, Blake, because we're with a news reporter now.
Oh, thank God.
Some reason.
Great.
And now the reporter, named Jenny, finds some juicy political gossip. Blah, 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 blah. Let's just get to something interesting, shall we?
Yeah, we got Taya Leone here, who's also in every 90s disaster movie, I feel like. She's gonna climb the ladder and be the best busy lady reporter person on the TV.
Well, we'll see.
Oh, shit.
FBI, if you would please, ma'am.
Now that's more like it. Jenny gets forced off the highway and into an FBI car who takes her to an isolated location to assassinate her. No, sorry, I got ahead of myself. She's actually being forced to meet the president, Morgan Freeman, who for some reason is going by President Beck.
This sounds terrible, and it's obviously written for a white guy.
1000%.
So she gets run off the highway by the government. She doesn't even say, hey, man, what the heck? She goes, okay, and just gets in their car. And now she gets to meet the president?
Apparently.
Give us 2 days, Mr. Turner. You'll get second row center at the White House press conference.
So believe it or not, he's not telling her to fuck herself in a creative way. Yeah. He's making a deal with her to hold her political gossip story or whatever the hell for 2 days, and she agrees.
Yeah.
But not before she notices pallets of Ensure. You know the vitamin drink Ensure?
Oh, yeah. That's what
she's
keeps me alive.
Very suspicious, as am I, because am I not drinking enough Ensure?
That's what I'm saying. That's the only reason I'm alive.
The president will begin by addressing the nation. Please hold your questions until he's finished his remarks.
Good evening.
So it's been the 2 days that the president asked for, and Jenny is at the president's press conference where he reveals that the something else those kids found a year ago is actually a comet the size of New York City, and it's headed towards Earth.
That's a big comet.
In other words, it's bigger than Mount Everest.
The comet was on a path that could bring it into direct contact with the Earth. Put another way, this comet is larger than Mount Everest.
I also love this part because President Morgan Freeman is like, hey, man, just so you guys know, the world's gonna fucking end. But we kind of have a plan. Anyway, just chill out and don't loot and don't like hoard stuff. Everything's gonna be fine. This film has clearly never been through a pandemic.
Nope, it sure hasn't.
And it shows. Even a bad snowstorm and people start hoarding toilet paper and gasoline. Fuck off with this.
Right. So he says this because this comet might hit Earth in about a year. But don't worry, they're building a spaceship to stop the comet.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, and in other news, I built a large drone to stop a semi-trailer. I'm sure both will work.
Just hit it. Just keep hitting it.
What do you think of the crew? Heroes all.
Now we get to meet all of our astronauts. Now, normally I'd introduce them, but the movie just kind of glosses over them, so I'm going to do the exact same thing.
Good.
So, in light of this horrifying news of the impending disaster, everyone is in a panic. And by panic, I mean they're having a fun, lighthearted cookout, followed by a night out at the bar. So, everyone handles the pending apocalypse differently, I guess.
Dude, I do find this funny because it's like ripped right out of like a 50s like Leave It to Beaver thing. Like the world's gonna explode into a horrible fireball and we're all gonna die and choke to death. And they're like, you know what? Hot dogs sound good though.
I woke up this morning and I realized none of you want me here.
Regardless of the cookout and bar hangs, the crew doesn't like our veteran astronaut Spurgeon Tanner, or Fish, which is What kind of name? Anyway.
This is the most cumbersome character name I've seen in quite some time.
Spurgeon Tanner. You could tell they realized that, and they're like, can we call him something else? I don't know. Call him Fish.
Spurgeon sounds like sturgeon, fish. I don't know. Who cares? We're stupid.
Make it work. Who cares? He confronts the rest of the crew about them, like, not liking him, and it gets real awkward. Mm-hmm. I mean, but not for long, because
3, 2, 1.
we're off to space in this new gigantic spaceship they built and strapped 8 nukes onto.
They had the audacity to call this thing the Messiah. Fuck off.
It's suddenly 5 months later, and our crew is arriving at the comet through its tail of ice and rock. Why not approach the side not ejecting a bunch of dangerous obstacles? Because movie.
Let's do this the dumbest way possible.
To be clear, anyone who doesn't know anything about comets, there is the comet and then the trail of fucking ice and rock that is leaving behind it. And they could easily have just landed on the clean side.
Okay, quick question though.
Yes.
Is a comet the same thing as an asteroid?
No. So an asteroid is like, a small rocky object that orbits the sun. And a comet is a ball of ice and dust that orbits the sun. So an asteroid's rock, comet is not rock.
Okay. And everybody who made this film is full of heads that have rocks in them. Got it.
What's the descent rate?
3 feet per second. Depressurizing bay.
Opening payload doors.
So our astronauts make their way from their mini ship that's detached from the big ship down to the comet's surface.
Yeah.
And they deploy a bunch of drilling machines that have nukes strapped onto them, but things go wrong.
What? Didn't see that coming.
No.
Tell us what happens, Dave. What happens?
Get the hell out of there!
So basically, they lose one of the astronauts because the comet just shot him off into space because the sun heated it up and created guys. I don't know. But forget about that guy. Let's blow this comet off its course.
Finally.
3, 2, 1, now.
Well, the nuclear blast blew the ship off its course, but it didn't do shit to the comet. Well, that's not true. It blew a huge chunk of it off, but both chunks are still headed for Earth. We're all fucked.
In the soft limestone of Missouri, we've been preparing a network of immense caves, and they're almost finished.
Damn it, I'm still going to have to go into work, aren't I?
So, okay, yes, you are still going to have to go into work because fuck you, says President Morgan Freeman. I take umbrage with this whole segment because he's like, listen, public, we're going to select a few of you, 1 million of you to live, and the rest are going to die and choke to death. And we're going to keep those million alive in this very specific place I'm telling you about right now. But don't worry about it. Don't go near it. Everything's fine. Just leave us alone. Like, no, if you have a program like this, you just do it. You don't fucking tell the public about it. Oh, chaos, Dave.
Chaos or not, the backup plan is to shoot missiles from the Earth at the 2 comets and hope that does something. But just in case, we are going to send 1 million Americans underground for 2 years. Don't anybody panic.
Fire off the anti-comet missiles. But while that's going on, you should probably hide under a giant rock.
All right.
Let's go home.
So after we hear the details about the national lottery to become a mole person, where basically only people under 50 get a chance, our astronauts decide just to head home because fucking I guess.
Yeah. Well, we tried. Bye.
But I got them to let your family go too. This is your only chance to survive.
So now that everyone is just waiting to die and fucking same, we get a few scenes of some side characters finding out their loved ones weren't selected, and they are pretty upset. But I don't care, and we don't have time for that because we have to shoot the equivalent of a bottle rocket at a Mack truck.
Dude, god damn it. The entire middle of this movie just kind of fucks off to waste time until they're like, you know what, maybe we do have a solution, whatever.
The comets are now approximately 14 hours outside of Earth's atmosphere, and we are told it should take these missiles less than 20 minutes to reach their target.
Now that's what I'm talking about. This is clearly what's gonna save us.
Our missiles have failed. If the world does go on, it will not go on for everyone.
Well, honestly, based on the size of the comets, it's not going on for anyone, but whatever. It's a movie, I guess. So The smaller of the two comets is going to hit off the coast of the Atlantic, and it's going to produce a 100-foot high wave that's traveling at 1,000 miles per hour, or the equivalent of the wave in Titanic 2. And
I was thinking the same thing.
And it's going to destroy everything up to Pennsylvania on the Atlantic coast.
Yeah, bummer.
Yeah, sure. And the bigger comet is going to hit Canada, which is great because what do we need moose for?
Yeah, it's true. Fuck the moose. And also, they're nice enough people. They'll get over it.
Yeah, they'll probably apologize to the comet.
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to put my whole country there.
So that's it. Good luck to us all.
Yeah. Luck is going to help the planet survive.
Yup.
Thanks, President Morgan Freeman.
Paid off well so far.
So here we go, Blake. The end of the world. There's nothing more anybody can do.
Nope.
How many nukes we have left in the back? 4. If we can get the remaining bombs in that vent, there shouldn't be anything left of that comet bigger than a suitcase.
Well, looks like we do have a plan after all.
Thank God.
A giant crack has formed in the comet, which they can somehow tell without any cameras or sensors on the comet.
Just feel it. I can just feel it.
And they're just guessing, I'm sure.
Psychic connection with the comet.
And so basically our crew are going to sacrifice themselves to attempt to blow the big comet up.
Yeah.
Because that worked so well the last time. But this time, they're going to ram themselves and the remaining nukes into it. So we'll see.
Just ram it. Just ram it.
I'm not going, Aaron. Go!
Before we can get to that, though, we have to watch our side characters decide, nah, I don't want to be saved. Well, one of them does. The other is a teenager who decides, I want to get laid one more time, and goes to risk his survival for his girlfriend.
Yes, this is Elijah Wood's something Biederman is his last name, because they named the comet after him, which... Hey, thanks,
Great.
You fuck. Like, oh, they named it after me. It's going to kill us all, but it's named after me.
Might as well be called the Blake Comet.
It's true. Biederman did 9/11.
Well, the smaller comet has hit the Earth, and that insane Titanic 2-sized wave is fucking up everything.
Yeah.
One of our side characters, Jenny the reporter, stands with her dad on the beach as the water crashes, because what better way to go than a horrifying wall of death water?
Yeah, I guess.
And teenage Frodo, who has his girlfriend and her baby sister on the back, which is going to be a lot harder to get laid, I guess.
I know. It's the problems.
And they're on the back of a motorcycle, and they just make it to the top of a small mountain without getting swept away.
This is Messiah. We're ready to begin our run.
All right, Blake, it's Hail Mary time. The crew is ready to start their literal final approach to the bigger of the two comets and try and blow it up again. But not before they say goodbye to their families. And I don't have the willpower or energy to cry, so let's get to the blowing shit up part, please.
No, excuse me. I do have the willpower and the energy to cry, and I will every fucking time, Dave. Thank you. Because this scene is the one that made me cry when I was a little kid. This made me feel all the emotions because Oren, one of the guy who's on the ship, he was blinded earlier, and they put him on camera with his wife and his like little baby child, and he's saying his goodbyes and stuff, and like I don't think they know he's blind, so he's like, oh, this is what your son has, and he's talking, fuck this movie, fuck this, for making me sit through these family goodbyes. Fuck you, man.
I mean...
No, don't. It's not cool.
I mean, honestly, that part didn't get to me, but you know what part did.
Which one?
It's been a pleasure serving with you, Commander.
The honor's all mine, Andy.
Really? That got to you?
Yeah.
Over the blind guy saying goodbye to his son and his wife?
Yeah, I don't care.
Wow. Okay. Well, finish this episode yourself. I'm checking myself into fucking therapy right now.
See? They did it, Blake. They saved the Earth. Well... They saved most of the Earth.
Some of the Earth is technically still around.
They saved some of the Earth.
Yeah. Partial nuclear winter for the rest.
The bigger of the two comets does get blown to smithereens, and millions of small chunks of rock and ice burn up in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And now there's just one thing left to do, and it's not cleaning the shit out of your pants, apparently.
What is it?
Cities fall, but they are rebuilt.
I'm glad you asked, Blake, because the one thing left to do is awkwardly pull everyone out of the caves and then listen to the president give a speech on starting over. And I'm honestly curious how that conversation went. Hey, you don't have to live underground anymore. Turns out they sort of saved us.
We're cool.
I hope you didn't shit on your boss's desk.
You know, there's a couple people who like, oh God, I hope they don't find the bodies.
Yeah, there's quite a few people who are now reckoning with things they have had to do. And you know, there's plenty of people who told somebody else what they really thought of them, and now they're like, are still neighbors.
Every weird water cooler trip is just, hey.
The somber part of this is that millions of people died. Yeah. But you know what? We didn't.
Yeah.
Huzzah!
It's true. We got Morgan Freeman standing at the waterlogged steps of the president's house.
Capital. Whatever's left of it.
Whatever. And he's like, we will rebuild. We have, and whatever. I don't care.
So I guess my only question now is, do we still have credit card debt?
Yes. And now your interest rate is 47%. We got to rebuild, bitch.
Oh, boy.
You're our slaves now.
Anyway, we roll credits.
Yep. Sure do. And I feel so good, Dave. It is a depressing film.
It's very depressing. But also, like, it's very awkward, too. Because it just kind of leaves us with the, you know, I don't know, I was joking before, but like it's a legitimate thing that I thought about in this movie.
What?
It leaves us with the rest of the human population, 99% of the human population to be like, fucking what now?
Yeah, I mean, it would be chaos. I mean, this film is just like taken very seriously. Everything is very serious in this movie. There's some like little kind of attempts at humor and stuff, but it's otherwise a very serious film.
Yes.
And I don't know if there's a right choice for this because Armageddon is not a serious film, but was also the wrong choice. And so I don't know if there's a right way to do this, but yeah, this one is definitely just more the hard line, like serious, like scientifically more plausible film. But
yeah, I mean, I agree with that 100%. And that's probably one of the reasons I liked it. But I mean, I'm curious as to how quickly Congress goes back to trying to fuck us out of rights.
Oh yeah, no, like it's martial law continues, and they just, you know what, you guys were really riding high on the horse there for a while before that comment.
We gotta change
reel it in. Reel that shit back in.
Let's reel it in. Reel it in.
Yeah, let's reel it in and get on to another very serious, very small film. You know, really an indie project when you look at it.
I've never heard of it
called
before.
Armageddon. Look it up, folks. It's
gem.
Not
about arms.
Dave was confused for a minute.
I'm still not really sure.
What's this movie about?
Movie 2, Armageddon, 1998.
Well, Blake.
Yeah.
That was an explosive time.
It was exhausting.
Yes. Now that we have depleted our energy, why don't you go ahead and ramp it back up with the synopsis for Armageddon?
The year is 1998, and the planet Earth is being stalked by a killer asteroid. This asteroid may have speed and gravity on its side, but the Earth has a secret weapon, a middle-aged oil-drilling bald guy named Harry Stamper. Watch as Harry and his drill boys fly to space to confront the asteroid in hand-to-hand combat.
What the hell is that, my lord?
In true blockbuster fashion, we open with an explosive meteor shower that destroys a space shuttle that nobody cares about, and then subsequently hits some cities around the world. This includes New York, where Michael Bay immediately kills a minority. That's gonna happen a lot.
I'm also very confused.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not that confused because it's Michael Bay, but does he think meteors are made of explosions?
Yes.
Okay, great.
He has his own, like, Michael Bay index, like, encyclopedia thing, and everything that's listed in there explodes.
We've got hits from Finland to South Carolina. We know they're not missiles. Now, what the hell is it?
It's a meteor shower.
Is it over?
General, we've got 11,000 people at NASA trying to figure that out right now. When we know, you'll know.
Now, we're with the white shirt space dorks at NASA, which is headed by a man named Truman, played by Billy Bob Thornton.
Great.
They realize that a meteor shower isn't all that they have to worry about. An asteroid the size of my least favorite state is heading straight for Earth. Spoiler alert, it's not Idaho. Close second, though.
What is this thing?
It's an asteroid, sir. It's the size of Texas, Mr. President.
Is this going to hit us?
It's what we call a global killer, the end of mankind.
My God.
Well, that sucks. But unlike Deep Impact, where they tracked their asteroid over the course of like a year or something, this asteroid, it came out of fucking nowhere, man.
Which, honestly, as a space dork myself,
yeah,
highly improbable.
highly improbable. And also, unlike Deep Impact, they have 18 days until this asteroid collides with Earth. They have no fucking plan or cute little name for it. It's just chaos, Dave.
Yeah, kind of like my life.
Yeah. But if you take a second and you think clearly, there's really only one solution here.
Rise and shine!
It's Bruce Willis. At least the character Harry Stamper, played by Bruce Willis.
Great. I mean, what problem can't be solved by just chucking Bruce Willis at it?
It's true, and you might be asking yourself right now, hey, Blake, is Harry Stamper a brilliant physicist or astro engineer or at least a good barista? No, not at all. Harry runs an oil rig, and I guess he's pretty good at it.
Yeah, also, acting like the oil drillers are the good guys really hasn't aged well.
It really hasn't, because Harry starts out by like hitting golf balls at like a Greenpeace boat. And I was like, yeah, this checks out for the 90s.
Are you suggesting that we blow this thing up from the inside?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
How?
We drill. We bring in the world's best deep core driller.
No.
So NASA's plan is to fly to the asteroid, drill into it, put a nuclear bomb inside of it, and boom, literally, it explodes, and the world is supposed to be safe. And that's where Harry Stamper comes into play, which is not a euphemism for my hobbit feet.
What's all this about? I've been sent here by the Secretary of Defense on direct orders from the President of the United States. I need you to get on that chopper right now, no questions asked. All right, General, I'll go with you.
Are you just going to blow past the fact that right before this happened, Harry Stamper was chasing around a guy with a shotgun shooting at him?
I am, because it doesn't matter, but yes, Harry Stamper is the kind of stable man who shoots off a shotgun on an oil refinery. But Harry Stamper arrives in Houston with his daughter Grace, where he's supposed to help them assemble the drill they're putting together, because the most brilliant minds in the world simply aren't built for oil drilling, Dave. But that's not all. Harry has to train the astronauts how to use this drill in space on an asteroid, which he's very qualified to do.
Right, I mean, yeah.
So qualified. Don't ask any questions. We're moving quick.
Well, Mr. Stamper, what do you think?
I assume you sent for me because somebody told you I was the best. Well, I'm only the best because I work with the best. If I do this, I'm going to want to take my own men.
But speaking of qualified people, Harry not only demands to go to space to help save the world, he wants his own men to go with him and not the trained astronauts, which, after traumatic brain injury, would make total sense.
I love how they're like, hey, we need you to train our astronauts to drill. And he goes, no, I'm going to go to space with my drillers and we're going to do it. And NASA's just like, yeah, all right.
All right, yeah, I guess, because they have no plan B. They have nothing else going on. It's just Harry Stamper versus the asteroid is what this should have been called. But you know what time it is, Dave?
Drilling time?
Close. It's Aerosmith Explosion Funny Guy Montage time. Roll that clip.
You know I want Rockhound.
We call him Hound because, well, he's horny.
So there's a lot of stuff going on right now. First, we meet our drill team, which includes Bear, characterized as a black man on a motorcycle, Max, who is fat, Rockhound, who is horny, Oscar, who's a cowboy, Chick the gambler, and finally AJ, the hothead, who's fucking Harry's daughter, Grace. Not his hairy daughter, Harry's daughter, Grace. Sorry. All that might sound like a teenager's first attempt to write erotic, like, fan fiction characters, but we do have some pretty big name actors in here.
Yes, we do.
We got Michael Clark Duncan, Steve Buscemi, Ben Affleck, Owen Wilson, Will Patton, and finally Liv Tyler playing Grace. The only thing this movie is missing, and I'm dead serious about this, is Nick Cage.
That's true. Oh my God, he would have been so good in this movie.
That's all I could think of during this thing.
The United States government just asked us to save the world. Anybody want to say no?
This is historic. This is like deep blue hero stuff. Of course I'm in.
Technically, Harry, you asked these guys to save the world, but regardless, everyone is on board and Aerosmith plays again because that's just how this movie goes.
You know, I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. I had to look it up. You know how long it takes to train an astronaut?
Oh, I'm sure like years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And you know how long it takes to train as an oil rigger?
A month?
Anywhere from 1 week to 3 months.
Everything's coming together, Dave. But that's exactly where I'm going with this, because these weirdos all train to be astronauts in like 3 days because it's that easy. And the NASA leader, Truman, explains exactly what the team has to do up there on the asteroid.
Jesus.
Okay, so you drill, you drop the nuke, and you leave. Now here's the key. You're going to remote detonate the bomb before the asteroid passes this plane, zero barrier. You do that, and the remaining pieces of rock should be deflected enough to pass right by us.
Essentially, they're going to land on the asteroid, drill down, plant a nuclear bomb, because America, fly away, and detonate that bomb when they're safely on their way back to Earth.
Sure.
Right?
I'm sure that'll work, yeah.
And a fun little fact here, actually. Donald Trump famously cited this exact scene as proof that nuclear bombs can stop all natural disasters, foreign and domestic. It's true. Look it up. I got too close to a hurricane after that, and now I glow in the dark. Anyway, let's get to space already.
Fucking yes, please.
3, 2, 1. We have preliminary ignition. Houston, the tower is clear. They're all yours.
All right, we're in the outer space now, and the first stop is a Russian space station for fuel, which also looks like a space frat house. It looks in just like total disarray. This Russian space station is helmed by a man named Lev, but things are kind of a mess in there, and the atmosphere feels a little explodey today.
Get your men back to the shuttle! Go!
So a broken fuel pipeline on the space station causes a leak, which in turn causes the whole Russian space station to explode.
Yes, because, obviously the only way to design a space station is to make sure that fuel lines are ran through it.
Yes.
And you don't dock where the fuel is located. You dock on the opposite side and then drag fuel lines through an entire space station. What could go wrong?
You silly Russians.
Fucking goddamn it.
So Lev, the Russian, hops on board one of the shuttles, but then that shuttle fucking blows up too, killing a bunch of people I don't care about, but sparing Lev, Bear, and AJ, Harry's daughter fucker. But while all that happens, the other shuttle, Freedom, lands off target on the asteroid, and we get a little insight about this from secret genius Rockhound, the horny one.
Captain America here blew the landing by 26 miles.
How the hell do you know that?
Because I'm a genius. The reason we were shooting for grid 8 is because thermographics indicated that grid 9 was compressed iron ferrite, which means you landed us on a goddamn iron plate.
I guess Rockhound is horny for science because he lets us know that none of their electromagnetic gear is working because they landed on an iron plate on the asteroid. But here's the rub of it all. They have to drill anyway because the clock's a-ticking, and I'm getting bored.
Yeah, because it makes more sense to just try and drill through the impenetrable iron plate than it is to just hop real quick over to the right side of the asteroid.
Yeah, have some faith, Dave, okay? How about that?
Okay, well, this thing's not moving.
So the drilling goes bad and way slower than expected,
for sure.
Re the giant iron plate. And the president gets bored of this whole thing as much as I am, and he says, fuck it, just explode the bomb anyway, and we'll see how this whole thing shakes out.
The president's advisors feel that the drilling isn't working, and we've lost radio contact, maybe for good. We've only got a few minutes left of guaranteed ability to remote detonate that nuke.
If you detonate that nuke on the surface, we waste a perfectly good bomb, and we have one chance to save this planet.
Fuck this. We're back aboard the Freedom, and the nuclear bomb starts ticking down, but Harry convinces the actual astronaut on board that he can still get the drilling done,
Sure.
He's, quote, been drilling holes in the Earth for 30 years, but coming from somebody who's been drilled for 30 years, I think this is a terrible idea.
What?
Let's go to the clip.
You swear on your daughter's life, on my family's, that you can hit that mark.
I will make 800 feet.
And let's turn this bomb off.
Fuck this movie. The men defuse the nuclear bomb with 3 seconds left, and now Harry really does have to get his stamper going because they start drilling again, and 2 things happen. Rockhound, remember the horny one?
Yeah.
He plays with a laser-powered machine gun or something, and he gets diagnosed with space dementia. What?
First of all, there is a fucking machine gun strapped to a spaceship? Why the fuck is that a thing? Number one. Number two, Space dementia after a couple hours? I don't even know if space dementia is real, but not that fast.
It literally has nothing to do with anything really plot-wise, but it made me laugh so fucking hard I had to include this clip.
What's the matter with you, Rockout?
This is insane.
He's got space dementia.
Oh, poor guy who had to say that line. Jesus.
I'm telling you.
But then more seriously, the drillers hit a gas pocket and it blows Max, the fat one, into outer space, essentially. It kills the rover and it blows him into outer space.
Bye, Max.
So this, Dave?
Yeah.
This is our dark night of the soul. All hope is lost and the mission is a failure. Until wait, something upon the horizon. What could that be, Dave?
Is it another asteroid?
Let's see the clip.
Houston, you're not going to believe this, but the other armadillo has arrived.
Do you remember AJ, Bear, and Lev, the guys who crashed on the other shuttle? Mm-hmm. Well, they activated a space rover of their own, and they ET'd their asses over a canyon, and they arrive at the drill site just in time to save the day.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
802, we did it!
With AJ's help, they drill to 800 feet, and they put the bomb in the hole, but of course, there's another problem, Dave. The remote detonator doesn't work anymore, so someone has to stay behind to detonate the bomb and die.
No.
I'll fucking do it at this point. We're over 2 hours into the movie. I just want it to end.
Okay, fair enough. I vote that option.
Thank you. At least somebody's on my side. But instead of me, they argue because everybody just wants to die, apparently, and eventually they draw straws. AJ gets the short one. He's going to stay and detonate the bomb. But then this happens.
It's my turn now.
Harry! Harry! You can't do this to me!
You go take care of my little girl now. That's your job. Always thought of you as a son.
I'd be damn proud to have you marry Grace.
So, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. So Harry pushes AJ back into the airlock in this very emotionally manipulative scene that makes me angry. He's gonna stay on the asteroid so AJ can go back to Earth and continue fucking his daughter Grace. I guess the bro code is real even on an asteroid.
Yeah, this scene is definitely really stupid, and I'm not emotional about it at all.
Come on, the sappiness of this moment makes me feel genuinely sick. The music and the hammy acting and the crocodile tears. This is self-parody. This is pure melodrama, and I laughed my way through this entire scene.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people who are saying that you are a sociopath.
No, I cried in Deep Impact. This is fucking bullshit. I hate this scene so much. It's so over the top. I'm telling you, this is ridiculous.
You take care of yourself.
Harry, no! I love you. Harry, I love you!
Whatever, dude. So the Freedom Shuttle takes off, and just as the asteroid is approaching the zero barrier, Harry finally detonates the bomb.
Press it!
The bomb goes off, and there's all these artsy images of Harry remembering Grace as a child that doesn't fit into this movie at all. But Harry is now just radioactive space dust, and everyone back on Earth gets a hell of a light show.
The two halves are going to miss us by 400 miles, and most of the small particles have been vaporized.
The world is saved! The two halves of the asteroid will now miss Earth, and our crew lands safely. And since all is right in the world, AJ and Grace get married in a church next to all the pictures of their dead friends in space, which is weird.
Very weird. I do have to interject here. That's not how any of this works.
Well, obviously. It's a Michael Bay movie, Dave. Nobody thinks that's how that works. But also, you're right. It isn't how it works because you don't have to have a funeral and a wedding on the same day in the same place. I don't care if you got a discount.
The priest was like, I'm free for both.
We can just do this whole thing in one afternoon, right?
We can just wrap it up.
But at the end of the day, who cares? Because I'm Armageddon the fuck out of here, and we got to roll credits. Hit us with that Aerosmith.
Yes, because that hit me less than the stripper coming to see Rock Out.
I disagree with every choice made.
I don't wanna fall asleep 'cause I miss you, baby.
I don't want to fall asleep either, Steven Tyler, but at least we're at the credits. And that was Michael Bay's Armageddon, a movie that lots of people saw and Steven Tyler made a lot of money from.
I don't know which happened. He was asked to do the movie, and he was like, only if you put my daughter in it. Or if Liv Tyler got the part and was like, I know the perfect guy. I know a guy.
It's a good question because Liv Tyler was in like a bunch of Aerosmith videos in the 90s too, like earlier in the 90s. Mm-hmm. But true to this movie and 90s, I guess in general, he like overly sexualizes his like teenage daughter in these old music videos and stuff.
Yes.
It's creepy. Go back and look at these videos and nobody should feel good about them.
Yikes. Well, I would love to keep talking about how horrible of a person Steven Tyler is, but I'd rather battle out these movies because I'm interested to see how it turns out.
Oh, this isn't the end of the show? I put so much effort into getting through this. Fine, let's do the thing. Or whatever.
Movie versus movie. Welcome to the Thunderdome. This place fucking rules.
We're back in the Thunderdome, Dave, and I wish an asteroid would vaporize me so I never have to listen to Aerosmith again.
Oh my god, me too. Can you take me out too, please?
Yes, we can. But before we watch these movies or get vaporized, Dave, you and I decide on 5 things that we both agree make a good genre movie, in this case, disaster films.
Yes.
So let's go through them.
Okay.
Number 1, we need grim disaster implications.
How fucked are we?
Number 2, we need a confident team leader.
At least somebody knows what they're doing.
Number 3, we need a strong team bond.
Like a blood pact, but with death.
Number 4, we need heart-racing action.
I feel like I could run a mile right now.
And number 5, we need a nerve-wracking climax.
Oh my god, please save the day.
All right, hopping into grim disaster implications.
Yes.
In both movies, the disaster, of course, means the end of the world, but in Armageddon, the implications of that are pretty grim. It's not just, boom, the world's dead. We're talking about tidal waves 3 miles high, traveling 1,000 miles an hour, half the population gets incinerated, and the rest freeze to death, nuclear winter. But before that bucket of rainbow and sunshines happens, shrapnel from the meteor shower has already been colliding with Earth, blowing up untold amounts of minorities, and Michael Bay is eventually going to have to come to court for that.
One could hope. But in Deep Impact, I would say, normally I'd say the implications are bigger or better or stronger or faster or whatever other adjective Daft Punk would use. But honestly, the implications are almost identical in this movie, in Deep Impact. Right. Because a comet the size of New York City, or bigger than Mount Everest, whichever you prefer, is, once it collides with Earth, it's game over. It's considered a planet killer. Like you said, it's going to create tidal waves that are, hundreds of feet high and thousands of miles an hour fast. It's going to immediately shred most of the Earth by heat and destruction. Yeah. Ash will then cover the sky and create a winter that will last years, and then all the plants and animals will die off. Yeah. So it's not that it's any more grim than yours. It's just like a different version of grim because it's a different sized space rock body.
Yeah, it's not looking good, but thank God we have somebody who can handle this at the helm for both movies.
It's true. Getting into confident team leader, Spurgeon Tanner, or Fish, which they explain with a bad joke, is the team leader in Deep Impact. He is a Navy guy who then flew as an astronaut multiple times and was on the last crew to set foot on the moon. He is the guy, okay? And he knows it too. Even if he knows he's much older than the rest of the crew, and they kind of resent him at first because his presence means they're not trusted to do the mission on their own or political purposes. Either way, he has to show them that he is that guy, and even calls them out on their shit. It doesn't really get much more confident than Spurgeon Fish Tanner.
It's true. Robert Duvall really does play this character very well. He's like, everybody's space grandpa. Like, he just is like handling it, right? But in Armageddon, we do have the most confident team leader, I think, in Bruce Willis's Harry Stamper. He's so confident that he pressures the U.S. government to not only send himself into space to do the job, but to also forego safety measures and sending other qualified astronauts in lieu of his own ragtag drill team, some of whom also have the propensity for space dementia, but what can you do? So Harry's confidence is not only what gets them there, but also what pulls this entire thing off and saves the world. He believes, therefore, we have to believe. We have no other choice. There's no backup plans here.
No, and I gotta say, Harry's confidence in himself is really only surpassed by his confidence in his team. Misplaced or not, I don't know.
It's true. It's awe-inspiring, the levels of stupidity here. But as with the last point, I think Armageddon definitely takes the cake on strong team bond. These guys are loose cannons and probably perverts, but I guess even perverts have hearts? I don't know what this movie is trying to tell me. These guys are always joking around, but when one of them gets obliterated or sucked into the vacuum of space, they all have a good cry and then get back to the job so they can pick up the slack and come back even stronger, Dave, as a team bond.
Sure.
Fight me.
The asteroid's going to do that for me. Anyway. So the team in Deep Impact, consisting of Spurgeon Fish, Oren, the blind guy, who cares he dies, other guy, Russian guy, and lady astronaut. They actually really have a strong bond, regardless if I remember their names or not.
I don't.
When their crewmate gets launched into space, they fight like hell to go save him. And by fight like hell, I mean they just kind of yell for like 30 seconds.
Oh no! Oh well.
They all do trust each other, and they are always looking out for each other, and they are sad when one of them dies and the other gets mortally wounded. So it's not as campy as Armageddon, and we don't really see them bonding in ways outside of the space mission, aside from, the very beginning where they're all like, hey, the world's going to end. You want to have a barbecue?
It's true. The crew from Deep Impact isn't as charismatic, I don't think, as characters, with their team, but they do have to deal with a lot regardless.
Yes, they do have to deal with a lot, which helps us get into our next point, heart racing action.
Yeah.
So the action in Deep Impact is extremely heart racing, even though it is very few and far between. So to recap, they have to fly through the tail of the comet to land, which is treacherous to begin with. It also doesn't make any fucking sense. And they also have to drill into the comet to drop their nukes, but they have to do that on a time crunch because the sun's going to heat up the comet and yeet some astronaut off of it.
Yeah.
And it's also going to blind one of the other astronauts and burn his face for some reason. Then the comet breaks apart, and finally they have to sacrifice themselves to destroy the larger half. And all of it really gets the heart pounding, in my opinion.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said few far in between, because it does feel very sloggy, this movie does, in terms of its action. It's just kind of like little bursts here and there, but when it comes down to it, Armageddon is really just a space action movie, right?
Pretty much.
And it's directed by Michael Bay, so even stuff that doesn't have to blow up will blow up.
That's true.
Comes to the territory. We have exploding cities, exploding space stations, exploding rovers, exploding bombs, exploding people, a ticking clock, the fate of the world in the balance, and did I mention space dementia? Lots of things going on. I'm just saying, the hits don't stop, and Armageddon delivers on its action premise from frame one.
Yes, it does. But kind of ridiculously so, if I have to say so myself.
It's all over the top, and none of this stuff makes full sense. Just like you pointed out with the fuel lines running through the Russian space station, it's just nothing makes sense, and it's just there to explode.
Yeah, and it really just drove me crazy to have to watch all this shit that is just there to explode.
Yeah, but you know what else drove me crazy? The quote-unquote nerve-wracking climaxes of both of these movies. With Armageddon, I think we have a forced but appropriately nerve-wracking climax. Harry stays on the asteroid to blow it up and save Earth, but before he can push the button to detonate, another gas pocket erupts that pushes the detonator from his hands because Michael Bay can't leave well enough alone. He finally gets a hold of the detonator at the very last second, and he hits it and explodes the asteroid, saving the planet. And I honestly didn't really care at this point because the movie is constantly one step forward, two steps back with everything in its plot. So I was just kind of waiting out the end of this. But yeah, some people could have found this to be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I have to agree with you that it was supposed to be nerve-wracking, but I also have to agree with you that it wasn't. However, the climax in Deep Impact is actually pretty damn nerve-wracking in my opinion, because
I agree.
The mission and the backup plan have both failed. So the entire Earth has to just watch their demise falling from the fucking sky. And once the smaller of the now two comets hits, people are running for their lives from the ridiculously large tsunami chasing them inland. And to top all that off, our beloved crew, sort of, have to sacrifice themselves in order to potentially save the planet. We don't even know if it's going to fucking work because the first time, it obviously didn't.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to save most of the planet anyway. Fuck those other people. And watching them fly into the comet and set off their nukes is extremely nerve-wracking because you don't know if it's going to work.
I agree with you. I think the ending is appropriate. Yeah, I'd say appropriately nerve-wracking because it does show the implications on Earth. We get the small asteroid hit or whatever, and we get to see that carnage.
Yes.
It's like, oh, dude, it's just a little taste of what could happen if the big one hits. Whereas in Armageddon, it's just like, Harry, I love you. Tell my daughter I love her. And just boop. And it explodes and everybody's just fine, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. It feels so, whatever. I think Deep Impact definitely takes the cake on the nerve-wracking climax here.
I agree with you on that. And, I think I would like to just set off the nuke of the finish line. Or, wait, I would like to blow up, turn the finish line into two pieces.
Can we just, instead of all of that, just call it a wash? Because I don't want to talk about these anymore, and we just set our mics down and just walk away into the sunset, never to return to podcasting again.
Ooh. No.
I think I hear my car alarm going off.
Hey, look, we did it. It's the finish line. We're at the finish line. Can I go home yet? All right.
Oh my goodness, Blake. We are here at the finish line.
Yeah.
We are at the detonation point.
True.
Of this episode. I don't know.
We're really stretching it.
We are definitely making some leaps here. So you were pretty verbal about your distaste on these movies.
Yeah.
So I think it's only fair then that I make you go first and tell me which one you pick as first prize film.
I agree with this. So let me just first start by saying I hate both of these movies.
Fair.
But for different reasons. I actually like Deep Impact's beginning and end. The middle stuff, not so much.
It does drag.
No, I think it's a clever beginning, and I think it's a pretty effective ending. But I think when it comes down to it, my childhood instincts are correct. Armageddon is the more bonkers and memorable film, period. Deep Impact is more grounded, but deals with so much drama that I couldn't get invested, while Armageddon has the audacity to go balls to the wall and give us a live-action cartoon.
Yeah.
It's like full of those soaringly stupid highs and those like viscous, sappy lows, and I literally just cannot believe how fucking ridiculous this movie is.
It's true. It's very ridiculous.
It is the most insane thing, and people just bought this up. And in my head, it fits perfectly into what I envision for this kind of genre, you know? I never want to see these movies again, but Armageddon is my choice for first prize film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a windy path, but here we are.
Well, here's the thing. I really liked most of Deep Impact. Okay.
Sure.
I was really bored with when we kept going back to the side characters because who fucking cares?
I get why they were there. I get why they were there. It's world building, and it gives us, some like grounded insights from like what's happening in the world perspective. But a lot of it was drug on and on and on, and like we get it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the part that kind of sucked for me, but I did like it. I thought it was more believable. I thought, like you said, it was definitely more grounded. And with Armageddon, I can't tell you how many times in this fucking movie that I was like, what the fuck is happening? This is so stupid. What is happening?
So grown-worthy.
What are you doing? What are you doing? That's not how things work, ever. What? Nope. But then I cried at the end multiple times.
I cannot fucking believe you. I just don't get how, like... I don't know. It's so melodramatic. It's so over the top. Every like thing that Bruce Willis says, there's like a little push in with the camera. You're my son. I always thought of you as a son. Go home and fuck my daughter. And I'm like, no, dude.
Well, here's the thing, Blake. I feel like you're going to be in the minority on this.
Fine.
But I think it's because, like, yes, it's melodramatic. It's cartoony. It's over the top. But somehow... it's just the whole like father sacrificing himself for his daughter trope. It's just no matter what, it just cuts right through all the cheese right into the heart and pokes it.
it swims in the cheese. It is nothing but cheese. That's a colon blocking scene right there. You will never poop again after seeing that.
Good thing I like cheese.
Good thing I have okay insurance because I gotta go to the hospital. I'm literally bashing the film that I chose, but I chose that film because of these fucking moments. It's just so dripping and like extra shit.
And that's the thing. I think because somehow, in spite of it being infinitely stupid and infinitely cartoony and cheesy and ridiculous, it's still somehow the better disaster film.
I agree with you.
So it is also my choice for First Prize Films.
All right.
I don't want it to be. To be fair.
I don't want either of these things.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think some of the drama in Deep Impact and stuff was good, and there's like some compelling character stuff in there. But people remember Armageddon more because it's just so much. It's just so infuriating and weird, but I enjoy it in the way that I enjoy like Plan 9 from Outer Space or like any one of those like crappy B movies that like are fun to watch. I don't enjoy it because I genuinely am involved in it. I enjoy it because I just can't believe it got made. I just can't. It's so insane.
It is very insane. And you said something earlier in the beginning where like, is anyone ever going to do this type of movie right or something like that?
Yeah.
And I have to say, yes. It happened a couple years ago, and it was a movie called Don't Look Up.
Oh, yes. I agree with you there, because the reason that worked is the same way that Dr. Strangelove worked.
Yeah.
You know, they're both satires.
Yes.
And even Dr. Strangelove is even referenced in Armageddon. Yeah, I get it. Those kinds of movies work because these things and these situations are very serious, and when you try to tackle them in a certain way, they come off as schmaltzy, you know?
It's true.
So I think the best way to handle this stuff is, like, satire and like comedy, because world's grim enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's already bad, so there's no real good way to make a world-killing asteroid movie unless it's like laughing about it.
It's true, unless we're talking about the movie Moonfall, a very great movie about the moon coming to attack the Earth. Very good. Love it. Nothing but glowing reviews from me.
I forgot about that movie.
Go watch Moonfall.
Well, Blake, I guess that does it. Now that you've mentioned Moonfall, I'm ready for this episode to be over.
Same.
So
let's end it. Please vaporize me, Daddy.
Hey, First Prize listeners, thanks for tuning in this week. Thanks for saving the planet with us. If you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed hearing us learn to fear space rocks, consider subscribing to our socials. It's at First Prize Pod on all platforms, and that includes Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Instagram. We're on TikTok and YouTube as well. Also, don't forget to check out our website. It's firstprizefilms.com.
Yep, we do this for free because insurance pays out double in the case of an asteroid death. But if you'd still like to support us, consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, please. Anything helps. And join us next episode as we pull a rabbit out of a hat with these magician films.
Yep, we are talking about The Illusionist versus The Prestige, both from 2006.
Yes, another case of who did it better in the same year.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan or some other guy. Jury's out.
See ya.
Bye ya. Because you had that like sitting out like on something, but it had like fallen to the floor.
Oh, weird.
And I walked in and I was like, the ghost of Baja Blast.
A Baja Future.
The ghost of Baja Blast and Baja Future. A Taco Bell Christmas Carol.